play everything.
What is going on? Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. But you can do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, the like button, and that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Costs you nothing. Anyway, getting on into today's show, we are talking about my top 3 classic samurai films of all time. And there's a reason why I'm stressing classic, because I know that there are modern films that trumps these films as far as action. Of course, you have the special effects, the CGI, and all of these things, but the reason why these particular films hold a dear spot in my heart is because of the overall quality of the film, the story, the acting, the cinematography, and then the action last. All right, so let's get on into it. Coming in at number 3 is a film, no pun intended, 3 Outlaw Samurai. This film is talking about a group of peasants who are struggling. They are under the corrupt regime of a magistrate who is taxing them heavy, and they just cannot take it anymore. They're starving. They can barely, eat, and things are really bad. So they take the magistrate's daughter and holds her hostage. They don't mean to harm her. They actually give her food, and they go without eating. So they meant no harm to her. They just want the magistrate to listen to their pleas and ease up, make a cry to the shogunate to ease up on the taxes. That is just keeping them so repressed. And across the way, a Ronin samurai, nowhere to go. He's a wandering samurai, comes across this cabin comes across this farmhouse where these peasants are holding the magistrate's daughter, and he's like, what's going on here? Are you going to harm her? They're like, no, we're not going to harm her. Then he asked them, what's your reasoning for holding this woman? And they explain to them the whole situation on why they're holding her, because times is rough, they can barely eat, and they just need some reprieve. And it's the only way that they think that they can get a response from the magistrate to change his corrupt ways. And the samurai kind of just chills, and he is really good the way they act it. And samurais have honor. Samurais are all about the honor. So he shows extreme honor. He's like, okay, well, I understand your plight, as long as you're not going to hurt the girl. Listen, I just need a place to stay. Can I stay here? They're very reluctant, and one person attacks him, and he kind of shows them like, listen, I can cut you in 100 pieces. Don't mess with me. Listen, I don't care about your business. You're not going to hurt her. I'm cool with that. I just need a place to stay. So he stays there, and while he's there, the magistrate sends his troops in to come and get his daughter. And the peasants put up a fight, and they see that this Ronin is here, and they kind of tussle with him a little bit, and he doesn't allow them to actually take the daughter. And his reasoning to the magistrate is this: listen, these people have provided me a house, a roof over my head for the night which I slept, so I am obligated to help them, and plus their cause is of a righteous cause. He didn't quite say that, but that's what he was thinking. And from there, the magistrate leaves because he doesn't want violence and doesn't want his daughter to get hurt in the melee. Long story short, but I'm not going to ruin the whole thing for you, he sends he sends these group of men to the location where the farmhouse is, right? And then he gets in a melee with the samurai. The samurai executes a few of them, and then comes across one of the people that were in the jail that was let out. And this is a man of skill as well. And during the melee, they have a brief melee, and explains to the samurai, because I guess he noticed that this guy's a samurai, he must have honor. He explains to him why the peasants are having this disagreement and did what they did. So this samurai that was locked up had a change of heart, because he was once a farmer as well, and a peasant, and he sides with the samurai that they came to delete, and now it's 2 against the magistrate. So now where does the third outlaw come in? The third outlaw is he's leeching off of the magistrate. He doesn't care about the magistrate. He just likes fine living and luxury living. He's eating well. So he does the bidding of the magistrate against his better wishes, against his heart, his samurai code. And eventually in the film, he also has a change of heart, and they band together, and they all help the peasants to overcome the magistrate's corruption. All right, but there's also some political things going on there with economy and love and what would you do in certain situations. The cinematography is very good. The acting is great. The story, bar none, is good. And the action is good as well. So this film right here is a top 3, and I suggest that you go out and watch this if you love classic samurai films. Even if you don't like old films, I think if you like stories, you will really enjoy this one as well. Now moving on to number 2. Coming in at number 2, it is none other than one of my most beloved films of all time. It is none other than The Sword of Doom. This is a 1968 film. Running time is 121 minutes. It is in black and white, in Japanese with English subtitles. Stars a wandering samurai who exists in a maelstrom of violence, a gifted swordsman plying his craft during the turbulent final days of the shogunate rule in Japan. This man deletes without remorse or mercy. It's a way of life that ultimately leads to madness. A quick synopsis of the story is pretty much you have a samurai who, has been kind of outcast because he doesn't hold the moral fortitude to swing a sword. And after every deletion that he does, he becomes more corrupted by the deletions. So it's kind of taken over him, where he literally loses his mind in the end. But this man definitely still has a moral code, and you kind of side with him because there's a particular act in the beginning when he wanted to do something, but he had to do it because this particular person broke the rules and came at him in anger because he wanted to delete him. So he had to delete him, although he made a vow to this person's wife. This particular person's wife came to him begging him for mercy, wanting him to save the life of her husband. And he's like, listen, you want me to lose, but this is everything to a samurai. He's like, I win, I don't lose, I delete. He said, what are you willing to give up, your chastity? And she's kind of like, oh my God, I can't, what, my chastity? He's like, yes, your chastity. Long story short, she gave up the box to save her husband's life. Her husband found out in a rage is what caused the husband's deletion, because he came at that man in that tournament to delete him, and he got deleted, not even knowing that he would have lived if he just, took the draw and went about his business and kind of ate that act that he did with his wife, ate the hurt and ate the pain that his wife did. I mean, it is a tough pill to swallow, but long story short, this man has to delete people over and over and over, and he ends up being with that lady's husband. No, he ends up being with the lady of the husband that he deleted, and they have a little tumultuous relationship, and he continues to delete. And deletion, and him having to delete, is like not of his own fault, but just people just keep coming to him. It's like in his fate to delete people. So he is just deleting people, and he's going mad. So this is just a film talking about the cost of violence and what it does on the psyche over and over again. And can an evil heart and a heart full of what they was called evil produces an evil blade with no morality, or an evil blade that wants to destroy. So he's become possessed by the blade. It is an awesome story. And also Rurouni Kenshin was inspired by this film, Sword of Doom. So this is definitely a film that you have to watch. You will love it if you love story. This has a lot of action in it. The cinematography is great. The action is good. And the story is wonderful. So I think you will really enjoy this if you love old school cinema and just enjoy good stories, man. Go ahead and check out Sword of Doom, coming in at the number 2 spot of my favorite films of all time. Coming in at the number 1 position, it is none other than my favorite film of all time, bar none. It is Hara Kairi. Oh, this film, what can I say about this film? This film was released in 1962, has a runtime of 133 minutes. It is in black and white, in Japanese with English subtitles. This film is following the collapse of his clan, and an unemployed samurai arrives at a manor of Lord Lai, begging to be allowed to commit ritual side, I can't say that, on, he wants to delete himself on the property. Lai's clansmen, believing the desperate Ronin is merely angling for a new position, tried to force his hand and get him to delete himself. But they have underestimated his beliefs and his personal brand of honor. This film has won awards and so forth. It is a fierce invocation of individual agency in the face of corruption in a hypocritical system. This film has a lot of dialogue, and it runs pretty much until the last maybe half an hour where you get action. But when dialogue is done right, you are never bored with this film if you just engross yourself in actually what's going on. There's definitely honor going on here. There's, choices. There's morality. There's, code of conduct, dishonor and honor, and what would you do if you're starving? What's the lengths of which you would go to, to do so, and fair judgment in ruling. So anyway, this samurai shows up to this manor because this manor has a lot of money and the people are poor once again. There's no work for the samurai. Once the system changed over, you have all of these Ronin, these samurai with no work, so they're poor. There was a scheme conjured up where a samurai, I don't even want to say too much about this film. I just want you to watch it. But I'll just give a quick brief synopsis here. The samurai goes to this manor, right, with some fake blades. He doesn't really want to delete himself. He just wants to get money in return so he can leave, and feed his family, take care of his wife and child. And the manor already has been overwhelmed with samurai coming there saying they're going to delete themselves and they don't want to desecrate their ground. So they say, listen, here's some money, just leave. But now it's become so much that they don't want to be seen as weak, so this guy comes to delete himself, which he really doesn't want to, and they, in a way, force him to delete himself because they already know that he didn't come here to delete himself based on circumstances that they find out. So at the end of the day, he deletes himself, and that spirals into another man coming here that has heard the story and wants to do the same, but he has other intentions, and it's just phenomenal when you hear the dialogue back and forth, and they're trying to figure each other out. Like, do you really want to, or don't you? And the acting is phenomenal. I keep stressing the dialogue because it's a dialogue that you really want to pay attention to in this film, which is phenomenal. I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to ruin it. It's just a nice ride all the way to the end. And the acting is great. You feel the actor's pain. And the cinematography is bar none. And you're going to notice this when you see the scene when they're walking through the graveyard, getting ready for the final confrontation. And you see the cinematography in this film. It is amazing to watch, man. And they really just don't make films like these anymore. And you need to see this. You need to see this. Now, I know there's some films up here. I know there's Seven Samurai, there's Ran, and all these other films. I know I'm going to get slammed in the comments saying, how could you not mention those great films? But listen, I know, but I had to pick a top 3, and these are the films that I really enjoyed the most. If there's some films that you think I need to rewatch or see if I didn't see, leave it in the comments and I will check them out and do another listing. I'll probably do a top 10. All right. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to check out these classic samurai films. And I will do another on a modern samurai films that go more on the action side, because I think we tend to get tied up in the action and say a film is great because the action was good, but we miss stories. That's what we're missing nowadays. We're missing stories in films in general. It's all about CGI, all about action, and these films have no substance. So I say, if you go back to these older films, go back to the 60s, the 70s, man, 80s, 90s even, you're gonna find films that have some meat to them, some story. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, the like button, and that notification bell, and I will see you on the next video. Peace and be safe.